Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chilluminati podcast. I, as always, am one of your hosts, Mike Martin, joined by my two co-hosts, Jesse Cox. Hello, sir.
Yo, what's going on?
Same old, same old. It's been a busy week for me, but we also have Alex here, and we should probably say hi to him before we talk.
Hi. We became like the worst hosts, like, hell.
Yeah, it was Saturday morning.
It's Zipper in the douche, ready for action.
Zipper in the... Oh, my God. Boys, it's episode 50.
50?
50, episode 50. That's exciting stuff.
Man, that really messes with me. 50 of these?
50.
There's been
and
50?
Kind of like serendipitously, maybe, it is also the finale of the Skinwalker Ranch series.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
We'll find out.
That'll be a perfect little thing. I
Right?
swear we've
What?
only done 12 episodes of the show. Is that weird? Is it just, it feels like we froze at 12 and
Here's the thing. We've, over the years, done some episodes that I think were like 20 minutes of Alex being like, okay, now one time this guy went through a portal and he found the Beatles.
That's what it is. It's the show. It's the Chilluminati show. We talk about paranormal shit.
Which is now community funded.
That's the show. Community funded, you say? How can I be a part of that? You ask?
Oh
Well, let me
my
tell
God.
you. If you head over to Chilluminati Pod
Oh my God.
on Patreon and you sign up at any level, starting at $15 or above, not only do you get to listen to this episode,
Shameful.
but right when you go to the website, you get to listen to another episode of the show that we're recording right after this, the mini-sode, and you never know what's going to happen in those. Some of those are
my
crazy. Some of them are the length of episodes. You never know. So head on over there. Anything helps. Support us. We're trying to get a full-time editor, a researcher.
Both actually would be great.
Actually.
It would be
So
phenomenal.
head on down there, and the show only gets better.
It's true. It only gets better, and Jesse just believes that much less. The more.
There's a tier. There's one tier for me out there.
Yeah, there is one tier.
There's a prince. If there's a prince out
I know
there.
you guys are out there. I know you Saudi princes are out there. I've seen you.
You must exist.
It'd have to be, and they hopefully listen to us.
Yeah, look, if you can be a whale for your online video game, be a whale for me.
Yeah, if you're playing
Make Jesse believe.
Teppen, if you're spending $1,000 a month on Teppen, spend
I don't even know what-
$10,000 a month once on the Chilluminati podcast and change somebody's life
Yeah, and
forever.
for one whole month, I will believe.
Yeah.
After that,
I don't even know what Teppen is.
The rules are off.
Rules. Yeah, exactly. It has to be. It's a subscription of belief.
Yeah, it's a subscription of belief. For you, I will believe.
Some people won't subscribe to those sorts of ideas, like Jesse. But what we're asking you to do is literally subscribe to those ideas.
Oh man. I want to make just a skit one day when we're together where it's just Alex, the used Patreon salesman, just
Bill
pitch it.
Paxton from True
Yeah,
Lies.
we can put it up on the Patreon.
Oh,
but
you won't
seriously,
get a lemon.
you guys, it's
would've
life
got a
changing.
lemon.
This is literally, like as Alex said in the past, this is now our job, and this is phenomenal. We get to do it. And today, I think, Jesse, I don't know how you're going to handle today's community funded episode.
I don't think I'm going to handle it well, to be honest. I don't foresee this going well. I'm going to use my Coxtradamus powers and say, I do not foresee this to be going well. I know I'm going to spend a lot of time being like, nope, false, wrong, didn't happen.
Well, it's exciting, though, because today, Jesse, it's not just the account of the Gorman family alone.
It's the people who are making money off of it.
Are they, though?
They have a TV show.
Mostly they've spent money. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, actually, let me correct you. Because it was the ones that went to go study it were from the National Institute for Discovery of Sciences. Now, if anybody remembers, I think it was like our first episode, we talked a little bit about them. It was the company and research company started by Robert Bigelow, or Bigelow, or Bigelow, depending on, however you want to pronounce it. Do you know much about him, Jesse?
No, I don't know that name at all. Usually, most of these names, I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard that. I don't know this.
You can actually go see. He still exists today. He's heavily invested in. He has his own personal aerodynamic,
Robert Bigelow?
aerospace rather. Robert Bigelow, yeah. He has his own
Is that real?
aerospace. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Look
look
at
at
him.
this guy.
yeah. He's a
He
real
owns
boy.
A hotel chain,
He owns
Budget
Yeah.
Suites of America.
Yeah, he does. He does own
And
that hotel chain.
you know what? I love rich people, like wealthy people who have too much damn money, because you always know what their real dreams are. because his description is so simple. Robert Thomas Bigelow is an American businessman. He owns the hotel chain Budget Suites of America and is the founder of Bigelow Aerospace. So deep down, the man wants nothing to do with your hotels. He doesn't care. Dude, he wants to be in space.
Yes. He just wants to know about space,
you can
dude.
Truly tell, like, when the people who are filthy rich, they're just like, this is what I want to do when I was 10. And now I don't have to care anymore.
This is what I would do with that kind of money. I would set up a thing to be like, fucking find aliens, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Need to.
I agree. I would. It just shows you that when you don't have to care about the mundane things that we all have to work our ass off for, you can finally get back to what you really wanted to do, and it's always going to space. Always.
He just had one of those days where like the special teacher came to class and they all shot like Coke bottles into the air. And that day just never ended for Robert Bigelow.
Yeah. That's the last nice thing I'll say about the wealthy. And that's the last nice thing I'll say.
It's the last nice thing. Great. The National Institute for Discovery of Sciences, NIDS, lowercase CI if you care, was founded in 1995 by Robert Bigelow specifically to go into the scientific rigor of paranormal research and as well as to secure funding along the way. It was going to be one of those look for investors while you go ahead and do a bunch of paranormal research. He studied and continued to study for many years the Hessdalen Village, which is a village in the municipality of, this is a Norway town, so Hotalen in Trøndelag County.
That sounds like
Norway.
Somebody from Norway.
Right.
Yeah.
The valley is about 12 kilometers long, which is about 7.5 miles, and home to approximately 200 people. Hessdalen was of interest to his little foundation because of numerous sightings of lights in the sky. Sightings of weird lights in the sky have been reported since at least the 1940s, with some reports going as far back as 100 years. Sightings spiked in 1984, but have dwindled in recent years to only 10 to 20 a year at this point. In 1984, a 36-day observation of the phenomenon was undertaken with a magnometer, a radio spectrum analyzer, a seismograph, cameras, a Geiger camera, an infrared viewer, and a laser.
I'm just imagining the kid who played Shorty from Goonies.
Just like getting all his little tools
What's
out.
his name? Radar?
I don't know because another movie crime, never seen the Goonies.
Oh, man. What is his name? I can't remember. Well, it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
I want
It is
kind of
what it is.
that I'm going to spend the rest of my life making you watch movies that you
That's fine.
criminally haven't seen.
I'm fine with that.
I'm
My
so
my buddy Scott has been tried for years and it just never worked. So
The Goonies is good.
I've heard. So all that studying for the night again. Remember, this is the 1984 peak of Hessdalen Valley, where there was the obscene light in the sky. During that 36-day observation, the study concluded that the phenomena was measurable. In the 1990s, a real-time automated observatory was built and dubbed the Automatic Measurement Station, AMS for short, and was deployed in 1998 to conclude the lights were not from a man-made source. Project Electromagnetic Behavior of Luminous Anomalies, EMBLA for short, a joint operation between the established Norwegian team and the Italian National Research Council, equipped the AMS with additional automated instruments. Project EMBLA came to no solid conclusions. In August of 2004, Project Hessdalen was suspended due to financial difficulties.
Is there actual research on that? Is there actual like published?
Well, you can look at the lights in the sky reports over at a website called wondermondo.com/Hessdalen-lights. And you can kind of like dip, but yeah, you can find, this is all openly discoverable.
Would you say that research is like generally like
it's pretty solid,
like well respected?
Just because you got to keep in mind too that just because they say that the was not man-made does not mean it wasn't meteors coming through the sky, all that kind of thing, which is more likely the scientific
the other
belief.
day, right? Of like,
yep.
They're saying yes, it's a UFO, but that's literally all they're saying. They're not saying
correct.
what it is. Yeah.
And unlike the videos we have now, though, they're not military equipped like cameras. They were just people in 1984 saying there's a frick ton of lights in the sky.
Filming it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
at least people were filming it. Maybe people in America need to take note from the Norwegians. When you see something crazy, film that shit.
Yeah, agreed. The other station that the NISD set up a study place for was Gulf Breeze, Florida. Between November 1990 and July of 1992, throughout the Florida Panhandle, there was a spat of roughly 170 different UFO sightings. The sightings provoked enough attention that a UFO detection van was assembled. However, when it arrived in the Gulf Breeze area, the sightings stopped altogether. And then there were no other spat of sightings like that again. All that to say that the NISD was founded in 1995 and set up all these signs through the year. But by 2004, the National Institute of Discovery ended up shutting down, also due to running out of money and not being profitable enough. Basically, too much of a money sink after about 9 years of doing this. But the third area, the one that we care about the most that NISD was, of course, none other than Skinwalker Ranch. They actually were the ones that bought Skinwalker Ranch from the Gorman family. The NIDS team that was sent to study the phenomenon at the Gorman Ranch arrived in early September of 1996. The Gormans were relieved and left the place to them and abandoned the ranch completely, with the exception of Tom, the father, for those who may have forgotten, who remained on the ranch with them because he wanted answers. Now, for me, coming from an outside observer, before we get into the details, that immediately is, how do you interpret that out of curiosity? All these things are happening.
Stayed behind for how long?
Like another 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so
because they studied this ranch from 1996 to about 99.
So one of the questions that I have is, did the Gormans make money on the sale, or did they cut their losses?
Great question.
That is actually an excellent question that I don't have an answer to, that we can maybe get an answer on the fly for.
I'm just so interested because it changes everything. Because if this guy made money on it, I trust him less. But if he took a loss and then he was like, nah, but I can't leave. I have to know what the fuck that dude with the desk was. Was he inside the ship, or was he outside the ship? What's going on? What's the deal with that portal? You know what I mean? If it's real.
Yeah, I'm going to Google it and I'll just edit out in the in-between. I just want to know.
I guess my question is, in dealing with all of this,
because Robert Bigelow sold the ranch to the new one, Adamantium Holdings, for $4.5 million. That's what he sold it for. So I imagine he bought it for less than that.
Well, the price of land in general tends to go up, right? So
correct.
No matter
over
what,
years,
over
for
time,
sure.
You're making a profit no matter what.
Yeah.
Are you?
Over time, yeah.
As long as I get land.
It's only 18 months, and maybe they put money into it to start their business. I'm just wondering.
He bought the ranch. Okay, here it is. I found it. He bought the ranch for $200K
in 1994 or 96,
and he sold it for how many million?
Then Robert Bigelow sold it for $4.5 million to Adamantium Holdings. However, Robert Bigelow was already a billionaire at the time when he bought the ranch.
So the ranch, so they bought it for $200, sold it to Bigelow for.
No, the Gormans sold it to Robert Bigelow for $200,000.
How much did they pay for it?
I don't know if we know that answer. I assume they made a profit off of it. Let's see.
Interesting. That's huge.
That's huge. Yeah,
money.
That's massive. And it almost feels like the legend of it grows the more you can sell it for, right? It's just like any item you would buy on eBay, right? The demand for it, there's always one person out there willing to pay way too much.
Our whole podcast started with what's them called? The
Amityville Horror, kind of a classic to
but what's
cover.
the name of the two people? The
two frauds.
Yeah, the two frauds. The Conjuring, or not the Conjuring.
Yeah, one of them's dead now, I think.
The ones with the dolls.
Yes.
And I can't remember why I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm blanking too. It's like you shared the blanking with me.
I'm sorry.
Barney and Betty Rubble.
Yes, Barney and Betty Rubble.
different couple, but I know what you're talking about.
But they basically it proves that this type of person exists, right? Same thing with our dude from Ghost Adventures, Zach Bagans, right? It's there is a type of business that profits off the notoriety of scary places, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It happens all the time. I mean, you can simply go to eBay and look at the haunted doll market that happens on that
but
thing.
we
Like,
bought
people
a
make
real
money off
haunted doll, of course. Like,
Yeah,
whatever
well,
would have said you.
he's in the closet. I think he's hanging upside down by his foot last time I looked.
I love that.
It just happens.
But my question is like, so when did people start hearing about Skinwalker Ranch?
Well, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the area because it's not like these people just went to the ranch and studied the ranch. They did interview people in town. They did talk to others who may or may not have seen things. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff. But, I mean, I can't find an answer as to what the Gormans paid for the ranch initially, only that they sold it for $200,000.
Were they in the paper like while they owned the ranch?
Yes, there was like paper stuff. Don't worry. We're going to get to all of it, boys. Let's get to it. Let's get back on topic. My apologies. We did, but that is important to know. I'm glad we kind of like looked that up. So Tom remained throughout October and November of 1996. Part of the team remained in an observational trailer set up with monitoring equipment, while the other stayed in Las Vegas as relief. So they kind of had like two different teams that would shift in and out. The ones that were on the ranch at all times and the other ones that would come in and swap out. During their time in Utah, the NIDS team also spoke with locals of the area, who, while reserved, came to tell them of the very strange experiences of that area. Incidents that occurred during the NIDS ownership of the ranch, though, are what we're going to talk about, because I think those are the ones that are most important. So, we start in November. From the 10th to the 13th of the year 1996, shortly after they've had the ranch bought and in their possession. On the 10th of November, Tom Gorman reported to the NIDS. I'm just going to call him, I'm going to call him the NIDS team, all right?
NIDS
They
team.
reported the NIDS team that he had seen 3 yellow-colored lights at the southwestern border of the property where he rarely grazed his cattle.
This is in 96.
In 1996, on November 10th, where we can actually get specific dates now because this is him reporting to NIDS. NIDS is there. They're operating. They have a team on the ranch. They have a team in Las Vegas to swap in and out. So when the team arrived the next morning to investigate, there was nothing to be found. On the 13th, 2 members of the team communicating via walkie-talkie saw a bright yellow light speed over the lip of the ridge. It made a full circle over the team, then flew off into the night. So right away, the team basically has an experience. Tom Gorman calls them in, they show up, nothing happened, but then they're there just one night doing their usual, and the team actually does see a UFO zip over them, fly over the ridge, and zip off. The head cock, Jesse, the head cock to the side.
I can't say they didn't, but all right.
I'm just saying. So we fast forward a little bit, a couple months later to January, late January, the 21st. It is now the year 1997. NSYNC, I think, is pretty popular. Mbop is almost a bop. Isn't that 1998? Is Mbop 98?
98 is the greatest year ever created.
For like weird, because then Britney Spears as well.
For me too. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. 98 was a good year. We're not there yet in 97, but on January 21st of 1997, Tom Gorman once again called the NIDS team during a harsh freeze that was happening, reporting injuries to the eyes and ears of 3 of his calves.
So is he
injuries
on the farming?
Yeah, he's still there taking care of the cattle and doing all that stuff because I guess that was what he was allowed to do so.
So for him it's just he's like business as usual except now.
Yeah, he's still there operating the Skinwalker Ranch belongs to now Robert Bigelow, but he's being allowed to continue living his ranching life on the ranch because Tom wants to. He wants answers, so he can also keep making money that way. And moreover, there's the interest, like as long as life keeps going the same way, maybe the phenomenon will continue to happen and we can catch
Fascinating.
it. Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Kind of a weird agreement that Tom remained with all his cattle and stuff and continued his rancher life.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
He had 3 calves that reported injuring. The injuries had occurred during a snowstorm with temperatures near 30 below, too cold for even predators to be out to attack the calves. And Tom was very, very assured that to the team. Photos taken by Tom showed one calf with its ear cut up and the other two with small holes punctured in their eyelids. Because of the weather, it took Tom nearly 24 hours, however, to convince a veterinarian to come out and assess the calves. But 2 veterinarians did eventually arrive and gave conflicting reports about what the injuries of the calves were. The first agreed with Tom, that it was too cold for predators to have attacked, and the wounds were unlike anything the vet had ever seen before.
You're saying the eyelids were closed and the cows could see through them?
There was little punctures in their eyelids, like little puncture holes.
That is crazy.
Yep, it's very weird. The second, however, who was and it's important to note, a more senior veterinarian than the first, deemed the injuries a coyote attack and accepted no alternatives otherwise. In response to this, Tom told the team, quote, "Welcome to the ambiguities in the veterinarian professions as they are forced to deal with the anomalous injuries and deaths to animals. The majority of vets want nothing whatever to do with cattle mutilations, unexplained injuries to animals, or anything that might provoke gossip in the local community that might in turn adversely affect their business." Unquote.
How could a coyote puncture a cow's eyelids without like ripping the cow's face off?
Right. And moreover, it was at almost 30 below.
Yeah.
That's fucking like, that's dangerous.
That's so cold. Yeah.
Exactly. Jesse, any input out of curiosity?
I mean, I understand why you could get multiple conflicting reports. The eye thing, I'm trying to figure out what that could be. Like, I just don't know. But I also don't know why an alien would do that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
For what purpose?
But that's the question, right? That's the grand mystery of it all. Who fucking knows? I had people, I have to respect that. We got a ton of comments about like them scooping out the uteruses and stuff to use as like material for their own cloning program, the Star Child program, that kind of thing. If you want to go absolutely into like conspiracy territory.
Like the aliens use the cow uteruses to like incubate themselves.
Yeah, and incubate and create.
That's such a huge leap.
It's a huge leap. It's absolutely a huge leap. It could also just be, I mean, you could go from that, and if you like, we have as much evidence to prove that they're scooping out anuses
slurping.
Correct. Sorry, they're slurping out their anuses and their reproductive organs to create these incubation period things. As we are as saying that these are not high school UFOs coming down and doing science experiments on Earth cattle to see how things work. We literally have the same amount of evidence to say both.
If humans are making condoms out of lamb skin, like who's to say? You know what I'm saying? Like I know
they want to get an alien schlorp.
I know that's a weird thought process, but like if we're doing that, what's to say the aliens aren't taking cows' buttholes? You know what I mean? And I don't know about the eye thing, but like, you know,
right? But like using sheepskin, we aren't like just taking the sheepskin to wrap around dicks and then leaving the sheep. Like that's just, like,
but if I could, I would. But if I could, I would. If I didn't have to kill the sheep. But I mean, the cow's dead.
Wait a minute, they're killing them anyway.
The cow's dead. But maybe they need it to be dead cow flesh. You never know.
Alien understandings, my dude. You'll never know.
Maybe they love the taste.
Dude, yeah, maybe like fucking boiling like cow anus gets you high in the alien world and you just like hallucinate.
All I'm saying is that if alien life treats cattle with such disregard and disrespect, oh boy, am I excited to meet them when they come to Earth and they deal with us, because clearly they don't give a shit.
They're gonna be just like us.
Are you kidding me? There are reports, again, that's where you go to the gray abduction scenarios where there's jack-off machines and egg scooping.
We have jack-off machines on Earth.
Right, but not painful ones like apparently the grays can be.
Why are there painful jack-off machines?
Because it's not pleasurable. They don't care about pleasing you. They
just is an amazing
Listen,
phrase.
dude. We all know what it does. They're not there for the foreplay. They're not there to enjoy it. They're just there for the seed. So they just got to get to it as quickly as they can.
I'm just saying, it seems like the fantasies of a person who likes like nasty. Like that doesn't seem like a thing an alien would do, and more like something a human wants an alien to do to them. Let's be real. I mean,
you know, if the Venn diagram
I'm just saying.
What a lucky guy, right?
No,
what a lucky guy if
definitely
it crosses.
seems like something it seems like what I would dream up in my most perverted states, rather than something an alien would do.
What if right before they
then
ripped
the
that
aliens jerked me off because they need my man seed.
What if
that's
right before,
weird?
What if right before they rip that cow's asshole off, they give him the greatest pleasure he's ever felt on Earth? Like
I wouldn't
the
even
cow
know what
dies.
cow pleasure looks like.
I'm just saying, like maybe the cow dies of pleasure and then they suck its butt out. Like,
dude,
you don't know.
dude, can we?
That's stupid.
It's insane. It's possible.
That's stupid.
Instead of these aliens being future humans, maybe they're just future cows, and cows one day.
Why would they do that?
win
That'd be
out.
like if we went back in time and we're like, all right, Marie Antoinette. That's where I was going. Give us that butthole, please. That's so weird. That's so weird. The more you talk about this, the more you tell me the theories, the more I'm like, this is made up by humans. Only humans
if
can do
this
this
is the
reverse.
finale, if we get to the end of this episode, we do get to the theory section, and we will get to talk
There
about all
are
the
no
theories.
correct theories here. They're all made up. I'm convinced now more than ever this is all bullshit. You can't even convince me otherwise now. You've lost me. The more you say jack off machine, the more I'll fight back and be like, this
in
is
China,
not real.
they're using jack off machines right now.
That's how COVID spread. Everyone knows.
I'm
Jack
just
off
saying,
machines.
they have them.
It was
They're nurturing, loving machines that do their job and take it seriously.
oh
This
my
is
God,
all
dude.
lies. Stop this.
What I'm saying is not a lie.
There's not a nurturing jack off machine. Like,
Bro.
all right,
Bro.
come on now. Wait, don't say
Are you gonna look up?
How dare you? Don't
Fleshlight?
send me a picture. Don't send me a picture. I don't want to see the nurturing jack off machine. That's not how it works. This sucks. You're all wrong. These are not real things.
Well, you look up pleasurable jack-off machines. We'll continue. The next month, as I said, this is March, remember, March 10th to the 12th, that's when the newborn calf got dismembered. The calf had been dismembered also in broad daylight. Oh my God, what are you sending me?
It replicates the human
I don't
touch.
want to click on that, dude.
It's called a massage pipe.
The link has masturbation robot sperm in it, so I don't want to click on it.
I'm just saying
I'm
it's
good.
real.
Masturbation robot sperm
I'm just
collector.
saying the headline to this article, too embarrassed to masturbate at the doctor's office? First off, that's just like a weird thing to even have as your head. Like, what are you doing at that doctor's office?
Somebody's like, that's me. I'm too embarrassed to masturbate at the doctor's office.
That shouldn't be what you... If you're going to the doctor's like, jerk
Here
it
you
for me.
go.
That's not the doctor you should see. That's
You might need to.
Yeah, you might need to have to like test
There's never...
yourself, you know?
No. You can do that shit at home and bring it in. You don't have to... If a doctor's like...
Maybe they need
Hey,
it fresh.
I need
What
it
if I
right
didn't
now.
know? What if I didn't know on my way in? What if I
Again,
was...
this is the type of thing, like a pervy guy who's like, and then the doctor was like, take it out for me. That is the plot of a porn, not the plot of real life.
Okay.
Stop it.
You know in Kill Bill,
Stop it.
you know in Kill Bill where she's like in the like hospital at the beginning and the guy comes and his name's Buck and he likes to fuck and he drives
Yeah.
the
And she
pussy
kills
wagon.
him? Yeah.
Yeah. What if this alien is the Buck who likes to fuck of aliens?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If those are the aliens we're getting, why
That's
are
not
y'all
good.
excited to meet more aliens? They seem like terrible people.
I mean, maybe if that's just the dregs of society, maybe the good guys are like Mass Effect. You know, like maybe we're in there.
Yeah,
we're in there. They
we're
haven't
gonna be
helped us
rescued.
once.
Well,
They
I mean,
haven't
they're
helped
in
us
there
once.
at the very least. Maybe they haven't. We don't know. Maybe life has gone on this long only because of their help.
No, I'm pretty
So-
sure. No.
We're gonna get into a little bit of some gruesome details here about how they found the calf as well, because that is also
Was
important.
the calf dead
The calf was dead.
with the
Yep.
with the punctured eyes?
Yep, we're gonna talk about that right now.
Okay.
So the calf had been dismembered. This all happened in broad daylight. This wasn't something that happened at night. When they found it, it had been laid in the grass with all four legs spread out neatly away from the body. All of the internal organs were missing, and the body looked pink and clean.
That's Jack the Ripper. That's his MO perfectly.
Exactly. The ear where Tom had pierced an identification tag was removed as if with a sharp object, like the ear was cut away. There was no smell, even though the team had arrived nearly 5 hours later after Tom had called them. And there was no blood in the area, as if whatever had done this had managed to remove all of the gore from the scene without leaving a trace, like the reports from before. The team searched the area around the scene. but ultimately found nothing out of the ordinary and returned at dark, which arguably is even weirder. Passing the kennels, they noted the dogs seemed afraid, one even whimpering, and Tom noted that they hadn't even come out to eat all day. One went missing and was never seen again. At 11 p.m. on March 12th, the dogs all began to bark and howl, and the team, as well as Tom, knew something weird was happening. They got in Tom's truck and raced out to the pasture, where they found one cow standing beneath a large tree away from the rest of the herd. They approached the lone cow, only for the headlights to pick up yellow eye shine about 80 yards away, 20 feet up, perched in the tree above the cow. 50 yards away, Tom got out of the truck and armed himself with his rifle, as he does.
My 30-06 Springfield rifle. Son!
Yes, father?
Send me it.
Tad just runs over with the gun in a cloth.
It's like a Fortnite drop.
Yeah, exactly. So Tom got out of the truck, armed himself with his rifle, and as he does, he began shooting at the creature in the tree. The shine of its eyes went out completely. Convinced they had killed it, or at least struck the thing.
Why would you shoot at something you don't know what it is in a tree? So irresponsible.
I mean, that's what they did with the wolf.
Yeah.
That's just
well,
like,
at least
just
that was like an invincible wolf that was trying to kill its family.
Yeah. Tom and convinced that they had hit it or at least struck it. Tom and they team scrambled to the area, but when they finally got over there was nothing to indicate such a large animal had been anywhere nearby. Gorman once again shouted he saw the creature and shot twice, exclaiming he had hit it at point blank range. But once again, when the team got over there, they found no evidence of such creature. So you've got to paint the scene. They get over there and they see some yellow eyes. Tom immediately jumps out of the truck without
fire.
Not only that, yeah, he immediately jumps out of the truck, runs out there with his rifle to about 50 feet and starts popping shots before the team has a chance to do anything. The team scrambles because they saw the yellow eyes and they run over there and he's like, I swear it was like a huge effing creature up in the tree. It was huge. And they're like, no, there's nothing here. But they start looking. Meanwhile, Tom goes off. He walks off and then he shouts, it's over here. It's over here. And you hear bam, bam, 2 more shots. The team makes their way over. There's no evidence of anything being over there.
No bullets, no
nothing. And then Tom goes on to describe, and he swears that wasn't one, but 2 creatures. One in the tree and the other on the ground, each around 400 pounds.
He got clever girled?
The one on the ground, he claims, looked like a heavily muscled dog. The only evidence that anything had been in the area was a single oval footprint in the snow, 6 inches in diameter, with 2 sharp claws at the rear of the print. After another 2 hours of combing the area, the team then gave up and returned to their trailer.
This was recorded by the NIDS team?
The footprint was then they found. That's the only evidence they found. That could have been, 2 claws at the back. I mean, maybe a big bird, an owl, 6 inches in diameter. It could have hopped on the ground, or scooped up it was like an owl scooping up an animal and had 1 foot touch the ground before.
Picturing backwards bird feet.
Yeah, that's how I kind of imagine it as well. But it's funny because it's like Tom runs around shouting all this nonsense, and they do find something kinda, but that he's talking about a big ass dog, 400 pounds each, the big animal that's taken off in the sky, and just the image of him running around taking shots and shouting for the NIDS team, and they show up and there's just there's nothing here, man. I don't know what to tell you. And it's so suspect because the NIDS team did see UFOs the previous month.
Yeah, and didn't he say that he got fur and blood off the wolf?
When he was shooting the wolf, it was coming chunks off. And remember when then he found the little puddle of the cattle mutilation that when he went to go get something to collect it, he came back and it was evaporated or gone. It's weird. It's just weird. It seems like everything is just out of their reach.
No
constantly.
evidence.
Right. So we move on to the beginning of April. A couple weeks later, April 2nd of 1997. Tom reported that another calf had gone missing, the fifth to disappear without a trace, as well as another one of his hunting dogs. On a rare visit from his wife, Ellen, who had abandoned the ranch since August, he and his wife went on a little routine trip around the property to count their animals. They passed the bullpen where they housed the 4 adult bulls, 2 Simmental and 2 Black Angus each. They were worth thousands. I'm apparently, by the way, and I apologize saying Simmental wrong.
Simmental?
Simmental, maybe, yeah. I'm saying it wrong. I apologize for all you cattle fans, all you big cattle people. Registered, both breeds can easily be worth around $4,000 today per cattle. Just to give you an idea, so that's like $16,000 of cattle in those 4 cows alone.
That's
45. Oh yeah, sorry. Continue.
I mean, so he's. How often is this happening?
I mean, it's like about a once a month occurrence at this point.
He loses all that money once a month?
No. Not all of it once a month, but just to give you an idea as to like even losing one, that's $4,000 gone. Like just to give you an idea of how much each cow's worth.
You lose one cow, you're losing $4K.
Yeah, $4,000. You're losing $4,000 on a cow.
He sold the whole thing for $200K.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I
But
can't.
I mean, you could also argue, but he's still making money on top of money, right? Like he sold the ranch, but he still gets to live his ranch life and make his
I'm
ranch
sure he's still
money.
selling beef or whatever, right?
Yeah, he's not. It's not like his lifestyle has stopped making him money.
He just loses
it's just
a cow
like
here and there.
it's almost like a return on investment plus some.
Yeah.
Plus, you basically get to live here for free.
It seems like he's starting to love it.
Oh yeah, there's definitely an element of like Tom is, if he's not, because he comes off as in the book as though it's all annoying, like it becomes annoying to him. But then you have moments like this where he like leads him on a wild goose chase with a shot.
Come on, it's right here.
Yeah, Bubba. Yeah, exactly. Bam, I wouldn't waste my. Yeah, exactly. It's like freaking what's his name? That Sam, Looney Tunes character.
It's Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, Yosemite Sam. He's very Yosemite Sam. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, his wife's on a visit. They're doing their rounds, counting their cows. They're passing by the bulls where there's 4 of them worth about $4,000 apiece. And 45 minutes into their trip, the bulls were gone.
What?
All of them?
What do you mean?
They were all gone.
$16,000 worth of bulls?
Poof, gone.
Never seen again?
Yeah, let's talk.
Okay.
Panicked, Tom began to look for tracks while Ellen began to cry.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, she just began to cry. As he searched, he passed an old white trailer disused for years and spotted the 4 large bulls shoulder to shoulder inside the unused trailer, standing completely still. Tom yelled for his wife Ellen and banged on the side of the trailer, breaking the cows out of their stupor. Like when I say completely still, what I mean is like not moving, not making noise, just completely locked in place. The bulls then immediately went berserk and just destroyed the interior of the trailer, managing to kick open the door and stampede into the pasture. It took several hours of the Gormans just trying to get the cows to calm down to finally get them calm enough to return them to their proper place. They called up the NIDS team as they usually did, and the team came out to investigate the trailer and discovered, with the aid of a magnetic field detector, that the bars of the corral nearest the trailer were magnetized. Though 48 hours later, the magnetic field was completely gone.
So they have readings of this magnetic field.
Correct.
They have actual like info printouts from instruments.
Correct.
That's crazy. Who are these people? Like, are they academics?
They were all hired like professional researchers, scientists, all like in like professionals in their field. But the thing is, you got to keep in mind this is all being funded by
Bigelow.
Bigelow and investments that he can get to keep it running.
A specific result.
It lasted 9 years before it went under. It didn't last long, and this was
the Skinwalker research lasted 9 years.
No. The entire NIDS organization lasted 9 years. This was about 3 or 4 of their years during that time. But and this was a team. I mean, the NIDS organization was specifically to investigate paranormal stuff as well. So that alone is a freaking failed investment almost all the time. There's no money in that. There's no money in researching this shit. It is just a sink. You don't get returns on your investments.
He's just spending money. Yeah.
He's just spending money at this point.
But then he did sell the fucking farm for
$4.5 million in 2017, and he's already a billionaire. I mean, is that really a fuck ton of money to him? I mean he made a profit of 4.5 mil or like 4.2, not adjusted for inflation. But
I'm just, I don't know. If he made a profit, it's like really not a big hit for him.
Yeah, and it's true. Like this was like we were saying at the beginning of the episode, very much a passion project. It seems
like we could
anyway.
Like we don't know the level of his like access to his own money. Like this could be his like.
He has plans in place right now for a 2032 opening for a space hotel.
Oh, just in space.
He's that kind of guy.
Got it.
Like that's what he's looking to do.
Yeah, he's just
I told you he wants to be a spaceman.
Yeah, he really does.
He just
really
saw Tony Stark and like wants to be him.
It's important to know when we pick apart these things, because it's important that we do. Even according with Tom and Ellen, all them being there, the only one who saw the cattle standing very still in the trailer is Tom, because he banged on the trailer before the wife could see it. And there's no way to say that he didn't put them there beforehand, but he would have had to put them there before the wife got there, and then I guess they would have had to just stay there for hours before they went on their little tour of the ranch. Like, it's weird that they were in there, but it doesn't surprise me that him banging on the trailer set 4 bull in a tiny place on a rampage.
But why were they in there?
Good.
Did he walk them in there?
Yeah, like I guess.
Like even if he's totally faking it, how do you walk?
He had to have moved them in there. He would have had to put the bulls in there himself, which means he's going all in on this fucking hoax.
But the whole thing doesn't make sense. Like, why?
Exactly. Why?
None of it doesn't make sense. Even like aliens did it, or like none of it makes
you're
any
right
sense.
though. It's like it's all nonsense. It's all weird.
I'm only interested in getting information that is factually categorized. Like even if I can't draw a conclusion from it necessarily, like just getting information that's verifiable and like recorded readings on instruments,
and it's always like a little something to say. Yeah, I guess this is kind of weird, but that doesn't prove that an entity moved the bulls from the pen to the trailer and put them in a stupor.
Saying that the bar was magnetic, offers nothing. I know it
really
sounds
doesn't.
neat, but like it offers nothing to this. It does not improve. Like, yes, there was a magnetic field. That means nothing. It means nothing.
Well, yeah, it's a little strange that it lasted only,
but it means nothing.
It's just bizarre that it was there in the first place.
There was an unexplainable phenomena there.
True, but then it went away.
Yeah. Then it went away.
Which is one, a malfunctioning technology, or two,
possibility,
a thing that links to what? Like, if it's a link to something, then would it then be like, okay, well, now we're looking for magnetic fields everywhere we go from now on?
Fucking would be.
But
me too.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say ain't nobody doing that.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about the next few. I'm like, but I gotta keep in mind too. I'm also weirdly on the side of Jesse. Like, there's these weird things that keep appearing, and it doesn't mean jack shit when taken out of context. If the story's true, it's still weird and doesn't make any sense.
That's why all of this is so confusing, because
confusing is a great word.
It is the Skinwalker Ranch. So immediately going in, I'm like, all right, well, we've talked about skinwalkers before, so I know what you're going to tell me are stories about people who are changing shapes into wolves and things. And there's an element of that. There's an element of like, oh, there's like wolf people on the property. Yes. But then it's extra-dimensional portals and UFOs and cars that fly and
the Mothman.
Yeah, like suddenly it's everything. And it's one of those things where, because it is everything, to me it seems like nothing. Because it is so all over the place, and all these incidents, none of them seem to have a connector except for, oh, well, it's the land, and it's this area, and that's why it's special. But to me, that
which apparently,
is like such a BS thing.
I think we should. I'm happy to put this out there now too. Apparently, the show going on right now has a lot of like video footage and like readings and stuff. That's something I fully plan on watching after the series is done, and we'll probably talk about it on a mini-sode at some point. But apparently, there's like things happening there where there might be something underneath the ground, which would link back to the don't dig clause of the very first contract. But that's something we could talk about another time. We have to move on to the very next day, April 3rd, 1997. Tom and Ellen, wary from the previous day's incident, were watching the cattle graze when 50 yards away, a cow lumbered to a blue salt lick. The cow stopped and then began to back away from the salt lick.
Time out. This is the salt lick they placed?
Yes, it's their salt lick.
Okay.
For their cows.
Okay.
It walked up to it, and then it began to back away, and it began to pick up speed, still backing away, until it turned a stampede toward the eastern pasture. Tom, who had noticed his compass had begun to act oddly during the strange occurrences, grabbed the device from his truck. When he returned to the herd, it had parted neatly in two, as if something were moving through the middle of the herd. Tom's compass followed the invisible disturbance for 11 minutes as the cows scattered to the east and the west. And that's the only strange occurrence that happened on that day, if you'd like to even call it a strange occurrence. Cow walked up to a salt lick, then began to walk away from it, and eventually broke away into a run, which caused a stampede. And then he watched as the herd, as they were stampeding, neatly split the middle to the east and the west, as his compass was just spinning out of control for 11 minutes.
At least it wasn't just him, right?
Well, Ellen saw that whole thing happen, but when he went off and chased and talked about the compass, it was just him.
God damn it. Bring somebody with you who's a scientist, Tom.
God damn it, Tom. No, it was just him.
Is that 97, I think we as a society forget how fast things change. Right?
Yeah,
because
true.
97, I was thinking,
they had to
why
call
didn't he bring a
them
phone?
when they get there.
There was no cell phone with a camera in 97.
Right.
You would have had to have, an actual camera with you. Damn, that sucks. I wish I want to be like, you're so dumb, Tom. But at the time, I'm like, I guess if you were like, how old was Tom? He would be in his what?
I think he's in like his 50s.
Yeah. So, I mean,
somewhere
a guy
around there,
in
maybe
his 50s,
60s, early 60s at most.
A guy in his 50s or 60s in 1997.
Not going to have a cell phone.
He's never going to mess with technology, period.
A rancher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's frustrating.
But
I know. It's frustrating.
Even then, like, he has researchers on site at all times. He should just...
But there's still, the ranch is huge, and it takes time to get there, and they don't, it's just like, it's not always...
Are they seeing
even if you see
anything by
something.
themselves?
Alex is right.
Yes, remember
though.
they did. They saw the UFOs. That's the only thing they saw by themselves to this point.
Alex is right though. If I had a haunted house and I brought the two of you in to investigate, if I saw anything, I wouldn't then go by myself immediately. I brought you there for this purpose. I would be like, "Yo, everyone here now." I know they had walkie-talkies. I would have been like,
"Yep,
get over."
Well, we are
here.
gonna. They do set up cameras, and we're gonna talk about that, and you're gonna be equally infuriated, I think.
Of course, because, again, it's all... You know what? It's like when you watch an episode of Catfish, right? That MTV show.
Oh, my God, yes. Have you seen the clip of the newest one where the guy's like, I just want you to know, I'm dating Katy Perry?
I've seen that.
What?
I watched that. I watched that episode. I've been watching that.
I haven't seen that, but, like...
This whole self-isolation I've been watching Catfish.
But it reminds me of that when you, watching from the outside... watch the stuff that happens on Catfish. You're like, how did you all either one fall for this or think you could get away with it? Like, it's so obvious. All the signs are there that
just
it's
a little bit of research is all it would take to like make the whole world come crashing down.
Yes, and that's what this feels like to me. That there's just all these moments where everyone seems to have done the total illogical thing, and then they're like, yeah, we didn't get any of it on videotape. It just doesn't. There's so many like lingering questions that to me it rings as a falsehood, and that's the problem with all this.
That's fine.
It's so frustrating.
Well, let's continue to frustrate you. April 6th, only just a couple days after the last incident, 1997, Tom Gorman showed the NIDS team round tracks that appeared to be mechanical in origin, rather than an animal paw print. While examining
like
the
a robot
area,
footprint.
Well, like a vehicle imprint.
Okay, like tires.
Not quite. More like this, like a metallic, like rectangular type deal.
Got it.
While examining the area, the team smelled an overpowering musk nearby. They had been on the ranch long enough to know the difference between foxes, skunks, and other wildlife, and this did not smell like anything any of the team had become familiar with over the months. The smell would return in a highly localized way over the course of the investigation, coinciding with the team beginning to travel with dogs. They used the dogs as, quote, biosensors, as the animals seemed keenly aware of the strange phenomenon and could warn the team ahead of time. But that's the only thing that kind of happened weird there.
So there was enough shit going on that the actual scientists themselves would walk around with dogs.
Again, Tom discovered the prints, not the team. He brought the team to the prints. But they did encounter the weird smell, and the smell happened most when the dogs were around them.
Okay.
Now we move to the end of April and the very beginning of May. And all of May, because not much happened in May either, but enough. The NIDS team, May 1997, had enclosures built on the ranch to house the dogs. The large wire enclosures measured about 80 feet by 20 feet by 15 feet high, with wooden viewing platforms on each end. 3 were constructed at the west end, the middle, and the east end of the property. Remember, because they now have biosensors dogs working for them, with them. Over the course of the months, the enclosures were the target of, quote, poltergeist-like activity. This poltergeist-like interference happened on 9 occasions.
Over
the activity died down. Huh?
Over the course of how long?
The activity died down at the end of May.
So we're talking
Doors,
like maybe a month?
1 month. Doors would open. Padlocks would completely vanish. The wiring securing the doors would vanish, and other disturbances like that. And it just happened in May, and then it stopped.
This is like Tiger King, but with like aliens. He's like the alien king. He's like, this is just like a bunch of unprovable stuff that's all localized around one area, and it seems like the most likely person to be doing it is this guy. But at the same time, there's scientists there who are so moved by the results of what they're doing that they're like, we better get dogs. Like, we better build an enclosure for our research dogs.
Exactly. Like, they're not trying. They're just trying in kind of weird, unconventional ways, I guess.
Like, if I was Bigelow, if I'm a billionaire, like, would I be willing to pay somebody to lead me on? It seems like a no, right? Like, if like that's probably how he became a billionaire.
For like 2 to 3 years on top of it.
Yeah. Would I be eagerly paying someone to lead me on? I don't know.
I know. It's weird. I forgot to mention, this was something we left out of an episode because I cut it because it was too long, and I meant to put it in another one, but I forgot. Tom claims, during the Gorman encounters, Tom claims one random stranger came to his site because he was called there and to meditate and to become one with like some other entity.
Like a guy showed up.
A guy showed up, and so Tom led him into the field, and he went to meditate. And while Tom was there, and while he was meditating, apparently a large 10-foot tall creature ran up to the both of them, howled in their face, and then ran off into the woods. And the guy was so afraid and told him how cursed his land was and that he would never return. Just saying. I just got to put that out there. That was a fun story.
Definitely didn't.
That's why I was like, I didn't think it was an important one either. I'm just going to cut it.
The dude ran up to them and was like, yeah! And then ran away and they're like, you got cursed land here.
It's like an inciting incident from like the story of Skinwalker Ranch, the movie.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Your land is cursed.
Oh, God.
Run.
Well.
Run away.
Now we're going to move on to the entirety of the summer of 1997. June through August entirely.
The more you tell me, the more I'm like, this is bullshit. The more you say, at first I was like, this is fascinating. Like the last 2 episodes or 3 or however many we've done, I've been like, this is so interesting. And the more you say now, I'm letting you know, the more that comes out of your mouth, the more I'm like, this is bullshit.
I told you it was going to get nothing but crazier, my man. I gave you a warning.
All right, continue.
One night, on a particularly dark evening, a bluish-white sphere, roughly the size of a basketball, appeared 70 yards to the NIDS team's left. Now, this was happening to the NIDS team specifically. It hovered 15 feet off of the ground. Silence descended over the area, and then, suddenly, the sphere vanished. as if the light had just been turned off. The team turned on the Maxa beam, a military-grade spotlight that they had, and lit up the pasture. Nothing was there, and everything seemed normal.
That is so much money.
I know. As the team returned to the base.
He had shut down after 9 years. Dude's like, give me military-grade spotlight. Give me a
Maxi beam.
But it means they're trying. Like, it means like when the team, if anything, the thing I took away is that the team at the very least tried. They tried real hard.
I know that's what you're taking away, but it reminds me of when I go to like sets of YouTube shows and they have like 4 red $50,000 cameras. And I'm like, this is going on YouTube, right? Like, this is like, yo, I could do this with a webcam in a dream. I don't like, this isn't that. And they have like dolly cranes that move and shit. And you're like, what the hell? They have like PAs on set. And you're like, what is going on?
They're playing Hollywood, dude, like a lot of YouTubers.
I know what they're doing. And I feel like that's the same thing here. You can
Esports are going to be huge,
Hollywood.
man.
But here's the thing: they're not making like a show out of this. They're just investigating.
Yeah, there's no money to be made. That's the thing that blows my mind.
There's no return on this for them.
There's not even the pretense of it, which is the
But I will say, it doesn't have to be money that's made. But what I think is fascinating is the idea that this guy Bigelow, he now has the cred to say, "I am doing this," and in some communities that gets you. Like, you feel important. You feel like you're, people come up to you and like,
I guess if he cares that much, but he's like a billionaire.
I understand,
he
but
doesn't
sometimes,
need that.
like, I'm sure we all know people, especially in this industry, who have made it and have become very successful who are still miserable. They have all their money and they're still
you're not wrong there.
Miserable people. Because I think at the end of the day, even the extremely wealthy, there's something like in them. They have a desire to be something different. And to have money without respect, I think, is the key. Like, if people don't respect you, it's
fair. I mean, if he really cares, and he does look like a space nerd and just wants to be accepted by the space. But here's the thing, right? But like in the scientific space community, like NASA and all that shit, they shit on UFO people. That doesn't get you anywhere.
But he doesn't seem like it's
he
one of those
doesn't
things
like he cares.
It's one of those things where imagine if you had to enter a new club, right? Like imagine if you were huge into aliens and you joined the alien club.
Me? Wow.
If you join the alien club, you're the bottom of the alien club. Like,
how dare you? I've been spending 2 years on this podcast.
Exactly. You're the bottom of the alien club. But imagine you suddenly are now investing heavily. Now you're the guy in the alien club. And so you have control over the alien club, which if you're a rich guy, you probably want the control because that's how you live your life anyway.
One day when we talk more about even more like the crash, like Corona incident and all that nonsense, you're going to learn how bad the UFO community works with each other. They all hate each other.
Everything
it's
I've
the worst.
ever seen, they treat each other like crap. They just
want.
It literally is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same energy.
Yes. Anyway, we have to continue. So they beamed the light. The pasture was clean, and they began to head back to base. And as the team began to return back to base, one member, armed with night vision binoculars,
this is after the orb.
This is after the orb. They're walking away after leaving like the beam. With the team member with night vision binoculars pointed out a large black creature moving north.
And Tom is not here this time.
And Tom this is just the team.
This is what I'm talking about. This is the only real thing that happened.
The team member who had spotted it kept watching it, while the other had to make do trying to look for a black object against a dark night sky, only using the creature's silhouette against the stars. Only because only one of them had night vision goggles.
1997.
The member with the binoculars.
The guy who's like, hey, my night vision goggles say it's right there. Turn your giant ass maxi beam on it. Because
the maxi beam was set up in the pasture and there was out that way. They're far away from that. But this is the best part. So you might think maybe the man with the binoculars would be calm and try to direct with the pictures. Instead, the member who could see it with the binoculars began to shout and panic with excitement, while the other one attempted to take pictures in the dark of this thing.
With what?
A camera? With a camera, with just like a camera. Just as quickly as it appeared, the creature departed, and the team member managed to explain what had happened to him. He said, quote, "Something big was in the trees just in front of us. It blotted out all the other stars through the binoculars. It took control of my mind. It told me it was watching us."
Nope. Took control.
Now here's
of
the
my
worst
mind.
part, because imagine you are scientifically minded and that actually does happen to you, how do you tell somebody that without having Jesse's reaction happen?
I mean, because it didn't happen.
But can you imagine the guy's being like, he's panicking because the creature that he sees in his night vision binoculars in his head is like, we're watching you. And he's just like freaking out while the other guy's like, I don't understand.
Is it literally just like 5 black rectangles are the pictures? Like what?
Yeah, there's nothing. There's just darkness. You can't see anything. They're useless pictures. Anyway, shall we move on?
Like, what happened there? What was that? Like what that?
No, that's the thing. We can't really talk about it, right? Because that's where it ended. That was the only thing. He saw creatures.
To me, that's the most compelling thing I've heard this entire episode. And the fact that somebody saw something besides Tom.
Can we just pretend it was Tom dressed up in like his costume?
Don't say that.
I'm not even gonna lie. I honestly believe that.
But what about the team member who said he saw her, like he was being attacked in his brain?
That didn't happen. Those are people who are paid to be there to find a thing, who are like, it was in my head, it totally happened.
So, in accordance with Tom's claims, as we talked about in the last couple of episodes, remember how we talked about he'd always be out there and the lights seemed to play with him, to mess with him?
Uh-huh.
Over the course of the summer, the team was also teased by mysterious lights that would dance nearby, only to vanish and reappear hundreds of yards away. Much like the second noted encounter with those lights they confused with an RV that would vanish and appear as they chased it. At this point in time, cameras had been set up around the ranch. By the end of July, as no scientifically useful data had been acquired, the team installed a series of 6 security cameras to run all night and all day. They were set up in the area of dramatic events, such as the calf mutilation and orange window events, the main stuff that we were covering in the first couple of episodes. Each camera was mounted 15 feet off of the ground, each facing a different direction to capture a full 360-degree view of the area.
Unbroken.
That's as best they could manage, yeah. Then, more events began to happen. At the end of August, while the NIDS team was away, so the cameras have been up for about a month at this point, Tom was minding his cattle at 4 in the afternoon. The cows startled and stampeded to the south, breaking through the fence line into the neighboring alfalfa fields. To ensure that his cows didn't get sick from eating way too much, Tom called on his boy, Tad, for help. On horseback, the Gorman men tried to herd the skittish animals back north to the ranch. But for 2 hours, each time they came near the cattle would panic and run away. By midnight, frustrated, the pair decided to move the cows 50 yards east along a ridge with a creek of 15 feet below before turning them north to lead them back to the ranch. As they rode toward the creek, God damn it, I just confused myself. A blood red object the size of a golf ball emerged and flew past Tom and his horse. Emerged out of nowhere from underneath the ridge.
All right, okay.
His horse panicked and Tom had to fight to calm his horse. Turning, he saw the light darting around the head of a bull and causing the animal to bellow and stampede in fear. So this thing whips by Tom and just buzzes around like a nearby bull's head, just like pissing it off constantly, just annoying it until eventually it just stampedes. Which is kind of crazy and kind of weird. It's like a weird, like, I don't know why. It goes into that, like, why? What's the point? Why is it doing that? As they began to try again, a second red ball came straight at Tom's horse, which bolted in fear, stampeding straight toward a canyon. Tom jumped from the back of the horse, and the horse jumped into the canyon, where it landed 20 feet below with no obvious injuries, and it began to climb its way back up.
What?
Yep. When he finally managed to remount his shaking, sweating horse, he returned to the herd only to see the 2 blood-red balls herding the cows toward the creek. Tom arrived too late to stop the cows as they all tumbled over the drop into the creek. All All but 4 cows who took the fall bellowed and clamored up on the other side of the creek, heading back to the ranch. 1 cow was in distress, 2 calves had broken legs, and a 4th lay on her side moaning and shivering. So yeah, this thing pissed off the horse to cause him to get away, and then the second orb went to join the other orb and literally herded the cows off the ridge. Just goodbye. And 4 were injured while the others were okay.
If that is real, that would be like the most frustrating thing I could imagine as a cattle rancher.
Because it's also happening in an area that isn't happening, can't be caught on camera.
It's off the parklands.
Actively, like the orbs actively were trying to keep the cows far away, and when he finally was taking them along about way, it just fucking tried to kill them all or run them off a ranch or whatever.
It seems like almost like behavioral experimentation. Yes. Like I don't even know how to how to describe that. That's so weird.
So by the time Tom and Tad returned to Ellen at the front gate of the property, it was past 2 a.m. Tom arrived first and got into the truck, watching his son approach from an adjacent pasture. Ellen nudged her husband and pointed. A blood-red ball was circling Tad's head, but Tad hadn't noticed. The ball took off toward the truck, passing within a few feet and accelerating as it gained altitude and flew off into the western sky. And there's the immediate line from Wicked that just rings in my mind. Tad approached, confused, explaining he had felt like he was being watched. Tom took 5 minutes to check the irrigation gates, and when he returned to the truck, Ellen pointed again. This time, a bright blue ball was hovering over the homestead, larger than a baseball, but smaller than a basketball, as we just had similar size to the one from the last episode. It seemed to watch the Gormans watching it before darting behind the building and out of sight. So that was their ball encounter.
Did they know about each other's balls beforehand?
I don't like this. I don't like where this is going.
Do you know what I'm saying?
What do you mean? I'm sorry.
The 2 different sightings of balls. Like when she saw the ball that he didn't notice, did she already know that they had seen balls?
Yes, because the husband had gotten back and already talked to her beforehand.
Okay.
Tad was the last one to arrive.
God damn it. Everything is so like imaginative, interesting, like bizarre.
But still violent enough, and they're losing things, and like their actual animals and livelihood is still being. That's why it's just like, is this really all worth it?
And that's the other reason why I'm like, how could this be him doing this if he's just throwing away like 5 Gs every time this happens?
Yep.
You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to make sense. Like there's so much on the line every time one of these things happens that it's so hard for me. I don't know. It's on the one hand, obviously I hate that he's the only guy who ever sees anything. But on the other hand, But on the other hand, there's so much stuff around this that legitimizes it in terms of like, surely all these people wouldn't just get involved without anything to show for it and no evidence to get them there in the first place.
And the NIDS team interviewed, remember, it's again, you can take it with a grain of salt, but they did interview the community and they all say they saw weird things all the time, things in the sky, blah, blah, blah. But you never know. But we're about to get to an interesting point in the story. But before we do, one last event for the summer of 1997. August 25th, 2 members of the team were exploring the property overnight. At 3:30 in the morning, one member saw a faint light 150 feet below him. He called to a team member who was wearing binoculars. 100 feet before him, ahead of him. He called to his team member who was wearing binoculars. The light was a faint yellow in color and grew brighter and bigger. It seemed to be positioned just above the ground. The team member wearing the binoculars explained that what he was seeing was a tunnel, not just a light. As they continued to observe, the member with the binoculars said that something was in the tunnel. He described it as a large black creature with no face, 400 pounds and 6 feet tall.
I'm out.
It came out of the tunnel and walked away. Quote, a big black creature just crawled through that tunnel and walked away. That's what happened. And it's lurking around here somewhere. Unquote.
Who was that? Who said that?
One of the NIDS team members. The ones with the binoculars
so
who was
NIDS
watching.
Guys are like, all right, over there's a thing. Monsters.
Yeah, he's from Slidell, Louisiana. He's
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
The two members remained quiet for any sign of the giant creature, but there was nothing. They clambered down to the area where the light was seen and smelled the now common stench associated with strange phenomena.
the faceless
But
must.
they never found. Yeah, but they never found the creature. So like they saw like a portal open, a creature walk through, and then close.
And that's the NIDS
creature.
team.
That's the NIDS team. A creature, mind you, that matches the description that Tom Gorman gave them the night he went shooting in the woods.
It's true. A 400-pound, tall, dark-bodied
creature that just walked out of a portal. It was like, time for my shift, and just like fucking clocked in, and then the tunnel disappeared, and that's it. And then a stench was left over.
What does it mean that the NIDS people are also seeing this shit? That's the thing that like is my biggest hang up here, because they have no reason to lie, I guess.
Again, they're getting paid.
Yeah,
and so here's
they're getting paid to find something. And
they
so
are getting that's the other argument you can have, is that they are getting paid. This is their job.
Aren't they getting paid if they don't find anything?
Right.
But
well,
they will continue to get paid.
If they keep finding
stuff.
things.
But that invalidates like all scientific research.
Look, I'm very well aware. I hate saying it because that's what people who are like, science ain't even real. So, that's what they say all the time. I understand.
Yeah.
I feel terrible saying it. But I mean, I don't know.
So here's where I want to go back and say, okay, but while that's a logical argument, one that anybody should jump to when you think about even the NIDS team seeing things, but it's always weird. For the next year, nothing happened.
Huh.
From August of 1997 to July 20th of 1998, the ranch was dead silent and peaceful. From Tom, from the NIDS team, nothing. Then,
and they're all there the whole time, that whole year.
Yeah, the whole setup is there. The cameras are there. They're constantly running. The NIDS team is still operating in the ranch. Bigelow still owns it. It's all the same.
August 1997?
August 1997 to July 20th, 1998. Nothing
You
happens.
know why? GoldenEye 007 came out for Nintendo 64.
Everyone was playing
dude.
that thing.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Shit, dude, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's what it was.
That was the biggest. The technology had leaped. But what happened on July 20th, 1998 is interesting. On July 20th, 1998, the security cameras picked up no strange activity for a straight year. But on this date, Tom Gorman notified the NIDS team that 3 cameras had been vandalized. The wiring forcibly removed. Like the wire had been ripped out. The PVC pipe used to anchor the wires of the cameras lay bent on the ground. The duct tape used to secure and wrap the wires had been unwound.
What?
And the wiring had been dragged out of the cameras. So like old school grab and rip. What did they do? And what any logical team would do. They investigated the incident. And the team found that all 3 cameras had lost power at almost the same time, at 8:30 the previous night. They watched the tapes to try and identify the culprit, but even though the vandal should have been very clearly visible on screen, there was nothing to indicate anything had been vandalized on the cameras. Just 3 cameras around 8:30, all lost power. And the evidence found was bent PVC pipe, ripped out stuff, and that's it. And then that would be the only thing that happens until April of 1999, almost another year later.
Tom is like, I don't know. It was just super easy. I was just in that cow business, loving it.
And this would be the last event that would happen for the NIDS team and the entire study of the Skinwalker Ranch.
Skywalker Ranch, where they have a personal chef
where they found the Jedi.
and a recording studio.
Tom Gorman was still working on the ranch 3 years after his family had abandoned the property, determined to find closure for these goddamn events. And one sunny afternoon in April, Ellen came to pick him up in the pickup when they saw a cloud of dust in the corral housing that was housing their horses only about 300 yards away. Amid the cloud of dust, Tom Gorman saw a reddish-brown creature chasing and panicking the horses. They drove closer to investigate, and Ellen said, quote, "That's no dog," unquote.
That's no dog.
That's no dog.
That's his Homestar.
The creature in the corral was heavily muscled with short legs, almost like a hyena, but with long, thick, bushy red tail like an exaggerated fox.
What?
I'm picturing one of those buff dogs from like No Fear.
Cartoon?
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
The head looked like that of a normal dog, however. Tom thought it might weigh around 200 pounds. Tom took off running to protect his horses, and the creature stopped hunting the horses. It leapt over the fence, ran off in the opposite direction.
On 2 legs?
Ran. No, like a dog.
oh, okay.
Ran up on a slope and disappeared. That strange creature was sighted twice more in 99 in the area.
By other people?
By other people. By other people, not by the Gormans. By other people in the area.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
And that would be the final major sighting for the Gormans, Nid's team, and all. Before eventually Nid's went under a few years later, and then they sold the ranch in 2017.
To a major
all this
comic book
happened
nerd.
in like the span. Remember, so the Gormans bought the ranch over the span of 2 years, approximately, a little more. Crazy shit happened. Then it stopped. Then one event happened, and then it stopped. And then another year later, one more event happened, and then it stopped. And then that was it. And then it was done.
Do we know if anything else has happened? Like, I haven't watched the show.
The show apparently has some more stuff. I personally, the show was being made and coming out as we were tail end research phase for this. I didn't want to push this series back any further.
Right.
So
We'll talk about
we'll
the show.
talk
Watch
about
the
that.
show. Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna watch the show at some point. We're gonna talk about
I already
a
bought
few
it on
theories.
Amazon. It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. We're gonna talk about a few theories here. It would be great if we could, after this whole nonsense is over and I can come out, we could like do a group watch and do like a group recording.
I'm into
after.
it. I'm into
I'd
it.
be down.
In 2022, we'll do it.
After we talk about after we talk theories, we'll wrap this baby up, and that'll be Skinwalker Ranch.
I'm ready for the. You have no idea. I'm ready for
All right.
theories.
First and foremost, the main theory. A, the whole thing is a giant fucking hoax. This whole thing is fake. The Gormans could have made the Gormans could have made it all up to save themselves from near financial ruin, which is as it could have been close. However, the native Ute people already had stories about the area long before the Gormans arrived, and the Gormans had no desire to speak with members of the media about the incidents. Keep that in mind. This was never made a big thing. They didn't cash in on this.
But they did to get the stories out there.
Sure, but it's in a weird little book that was kind of self-published.
I'm just saying that the idea of we don't want to talk to the media seems like we don't want to answer questions.
Okay, fair enough. Beyond that, the only evidence we have of it being a hoax is simply the stories. There's no way to prove one way or another that they are truly hoaxing us. The other one is, honestly, maybe not the worst idea. Common delusions. A common hypothesis in strange phenomena is psychosis, particularly paraphrenia, an organized set of paranoid delusions with or without hallucinations, without the deterioration of the personality and intellect. So basically, someone gets so scared they think something's happening, their brain makes it actually, their brain's telling them it's happening, and if you get somebody else worked up enough about it, they can start seeing similar things. And if you point out and be like, hey, do you see that? Their brain might see it as well.
Family together shooting at a dog with multiple weapons and chasing it?
I am aware. Honestly, there was after investigating a variety of eyewitnesses about the ranch, the family, the Nids, there was no common strand amongst the witnesses that might point to an underlying psychopathology, however. Like any look and study into it showed that for what's typical of those types of occurrences, this didn't seem typical of that. Then we get into the nature theory. Amongst the natural theories proposed to explain the phenomena at the ranch, the most common ones were wild-born hallucinogens and tectonic strain theory.
What?
The tectonic strain theory, posited by Michael Persinger, John Durr, and others, states that there is a temporal relationship between mild tectonic or seismic stress and reports of anomalous aerial phenomena. The theory holds that electromagnetic energy released from seismic stress sometimes manifests as light and may also interact with the human brain, perhaps through strains of low-frequency radiation.
What?
What?
What? So basically, when when things shift beneath the surface and there's seismic stress in just underneath the ground, what's known to happen, like there tends to be UAP reports apparently that coincide with those things, and that there's a theory posited by the people out there that I just mentioned, like Michael Persinger, John Durr, and others, say that maybe there's also low level radiation that messes with the brain that causes you to see things. You might hallucinate because of it. However, over a 10-year period in a 300-kilometer radius, no correlation was found between the geographical events and the phenomenon, even if you want to lay that phenomenon as fact. The other nature one is wild-born hallucinogens were also ruled out as studies. Yeah, like wild-born flora that might cause it, but it was also ruled out because as studies of flora and water found no psychoactive substances in the nearby area, so they weren't breathing in, the other stuff.
It's so it's so crazy, right? Like this story is so not different than any other like crackpot type of UFO story, except
we're about to get into that. You know what's actually funny? Yeah. Hey, shout out to Deanna, by the way, our assistant researcher here, because I'm looking at I'm going through the outline right now and kind of just reading over some of the basic theories, and she's still typing out theories as we're doing this right now. She's typing out the outer world's parallel universe theory.
Does she know we're recording it right
now? She does not. I'm going to tell her she can let it go. I thought she knew today was recording day and we're done.
What's the over-under on her just making this up as she goes along?
not because this is what she does for her master's degree and everything.
I'm just saying there's a master's degree in making stuff up because that's called English, and my mom has one.
No, English is a good degree. All right, hold on. So the thing that's different about Skinwalker Ranch that's so frustrating is it's just like all these other crazy stories. There's a million places like Skinwalker Ranch out there, except that Skinwalker Ranch stands up reasonably well to research. It stands up like reasonably well to like people coming and investigating.
I mean, I don't know if I would say it stands up better than most paranormal.
That's what I mean. It has so much more research done on it. And
there's even more, like I said, we've talked about before, there's even more we don't even know about because of the series.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, we can't talk about it yet because we're not done. There's more theories that need to happen. Now we get into advanced terrestrial civilizations. Do you know what advanced terrestrial civilizations means? I mean, it's in the name.
Advanced,
not aliens.
Like things on Earth that have lived here for
correct. Before humans were the dominant species, the reptilians can be considered,
like the Third Age.
Depending on the theory of where you believe reptilians come from,
elves,
whether they're from that kind of thing.
Dwarves before they took the boats.
And to Minas
the elves before they sailed west.
Yeah,
exactly. No, same thing, exactly. This hypothesis, you're going to love this, Jesse. You're going to so love this one.
I'm not ready.
This hypothesis posits that at some point in history, even as recently as Nazi-era World War II,
got it,
a group of humans gained access to advanced technology and have been using it to control the world from behind the scenes. To ensure that they are not found, they engage in harmless simulations to convince the public that benign extraterrestrials are visiting Earth. That all these things happening at Skinwalker Ranch are happening to keep the people busy.
Just to fuck with us?
Just to fuck with us.
But they have the power to control the entire world behind the scenes?
Yeah, of course.
Well, what the fuck are you guys doing right now? Fix this shit.
Listen, they've got... they can't fix it. It's their distraction.
Can I tell you what's crazy? Yeah. I know you're like, fix what's going on in the world. I literally just know that I have family members who are like Facebook crazy. And one of their Facebook crazy posts that I saw was like, don't you get it? This is all the government purposely trying to like get rid of members of society, trying to thin the population. That's what this is. And I'm like, y'all, I can't deal with you right now. So, of course, this is part of their plan. Don't you see?
Well, now we get into my favorite, extraterrestrial explanations. There's two predominant theories in the extraterrestrial realm of thought for Skinwalker Ranch. One of the best known hypothesized causes of the activity at the ranch, as words are hard, dude, is that extraterrestrials are visiting the ranch, given that many of the events on the ranch are similar to common tropes found in UFO sightings. Though the NIDS team took this very seriously and tried to measure the phenomena, no conclusive evidence could be found to prove or deny that any presence of extraterrestrials were actually there. The other side theory in the extraterrestrial world is ancient astronauts, a subset of the extraterrestrial hypothesis that even so far as back as biblical times, extraterrestrials have been visiting the Earth and are in fact responsible for many events in history, including the events of Skinwalker Ranch. And much like biblical events, they happen for a very small subset of time, and then they stop completely.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right.
It checks out.
I don't know what I think. I think there's something.
Then we've got.
I don't.
We're
think
not
it's
done yet.
true
We're
at
not
all.
done yet.
Oh, all right. Sorry. It's definitely not
The
true,
military is the next one.
Oh.
It had been posited that the events of the ranch has been caused by secret military operations in Utah and northern New Mexico. Tom Gorman did say that they often heard heavy machinery of metal equipment coming from under the ground. Military personnel were also seen around the area fairly often. That's the only evidence we have of maybe it being military. Native American connection. There is a correlation between paranormal hotspots and a strong presence of Native people. And as we covered in episode 1, the bloody history of the Ute people could have caused the land to become a flap in reality. Much like other dimensions and other worlds, it has also been posited that the disturbances on the ranch have been caused by beings from another dimension rather than extraterrestrial creatures, which also plays in the idea that it might be some intelligent and interdimensional creature experimenting with humans on the ranch. But that is the last of the theories. That is fucking Skinwalker Ranch. I'm so fucking happy. That's the biggest. That has been the most. That was a big baby, boys. That was a big one.
A lot of research.
Oh, it feels so good. Again, a thank you and shout out to Deanna. The episode would have been even half as good if I didn't have somebody help carrying this weight with me and just reading the books alongside me. And
wouldn't you like to have that all the time, Mathis?
I would love to have that all the time.
Well, let me tell you something. You can make that happen. You listening at home right now, if you head to patreon.com/Chilluminati pod, you can get us Deanna every time. You know what I mean?
It's true.
If we hit our next goal, we can make that happen. We are inches away.
We are inches away.
Less than $200 away from that goal. So please join us. And
check it out.
Right now, after this episode, you can hear another little bit of your
another mini-sode. If you're not on the Patreon, you have 4 exclusive mini-sodes on the Patreon to go listen to. But I do want to say, even regardless of where we get that far or not, I do want to say thank you. Because of being able to do this weekly, I was able to actually do Skinwalker Ranch, and it was so much fun. And I love this stuff. I love the weird. And even if I walk away going, I don't know if I'd believe Tom Gorman running around shooting like Yosemite Sam. God, it was a cool story. And Jesse, even if you didn't believe it, I hope you walk away feeling the same.
There is something about it.
I'm walking away all right.
Just like that portal creature with no face.
Oh,
he walked away too. Coincidence?
I don't know, man. Like, we have, just to get you guys hyped, like, we are balls deep at this point. I have like a mini schedule of like the next 7 to 8 like subjects that we're going to cover. And Jesse, you'll be excited. There's a little couple like one-offs in there that are going to be based on history, like factual stuff. You've inspired me to go in that way, but it's going to be weird creature kind of history.
Right. You know, the fake history.
The true.
Right.
Fake,
well, like
the real history. Weird creatures.
The weird, no, like cryptids that are become animals that we know about kind of thing.
Oh, like mermaids or manatees.
Kind of like that. Yeah. Something along those lines, you know, but like some of the weird sightings. Yeah, you've got 4 things on deck. One of them is an enormous undertaking.
One of them is like arguably bigger than Skinwalker Ranch. We shall see. There's a lot of reading that I'm doing, and it's kind of getting me very tired. But we'll get there eventually. In the meantime, I have some other ones on the burners that are coming. So get ready.
So that's it. I just want to say thank you all again. I feel proud of this little work. We're gonna leave. We got to go record a mini-sode. If you want to reach out to us, Twitter's the best way. As always, Chilluminati pod for the show, Mathis Games for myself, Jesse Cox for Jesse, and Fasciane A for Alex. You can leave us a review on whatever podcast program you let us. Tell your mom, tell your grandma, spread the word.
Don't tell grandma. Mathis said the F word at the end there a bunch. So
that's true.
Grandma,
my grandma drinks. She's serious.
Let Grandma listen to Andrew WK, who deleted the tweet, by the way.
Andrew WK.
Andrew
yeah.
WK. He deleted the tweet.
God bless him.
So good.
God bless him.
He did. God bless him. And then obviously the subreddit for stories, a reader story episode is coming up very, very soon as well for all those who like that stuff.
Yep.
We love you, and we'll see you next
time. If you're listening to this on Patreon, just kick back and relax because you got a mini-sode coming.
Oh yeah, this might be an ad-free one because we got an ad coming up.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Goodbye, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.